So, nope, okay, that always scares me. Of course, I had technology issues when getting on today. But I joined Beachbody back in 2019, December 2019, with one of the, what was it, the Black Friday flash sales. And I just really started because I wanted to lose weight. Um, when I was in grad school, I drank just as much as I studied, and I just started to gain weight. Um, and so I finally looked at myself and was like, something needs to change. Um, my cousin used to be a Beachbody coach. I've known people that have done Beachbody, and I kind of was always turned off by it. I was like, I'm never going to do this. Like, don't ask me, blah, 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 blah. But finally, I followed Carissa, who was my coach underneath Brooke. And I was like, something needs to change. And so I got started, did 21-day fix, saw some results. I signed up as a discount coach because I love sales and I love to save money. And I really didn't think I would continue with the supplements. It just made sense to get started with that. But once I saw the results and saw what the supplements were doing, I continued those. I did not start Energize right away. I probably didn't start that till like March of 2020. And I regret not starting it earlier. But anyways, so when I first started, like I said, I was a discount coach, saw some results, and finally I had some close family and friends that were asking me what I was doing, just in person. I really wasn't sharing anything on social media. And so I signed up I think my sister and my mom were my first people to sign up, and a couple of my close friends. And at that point, still not coaching, threw them in Brooks group. And then it wasn't until April 2020, when the world shut down. Becca actually was staying with me for spring break and ended up staying with me longer. And I basically forced her to do 10 rounds with me. I said, you're here, you're going to work out with me. And she ended up liking it, falling in love with it, and then ended up signing up. And for me, that was like my biggest win, because she can probably hear me as she's in the next room. But seeing her focusing on herself and getting the results that she did, I was like, okay, if I don't hit any rank or make a bunch of money, that's okay. I'm helping my sister get healthier and learn to love her body. But then I started helping more people just naturally, and I got that joy of helping them and getting the results and all of that. But within my first year of coaching, I would share, once I decided to do more coaching, I would kind of share sporadically, invite not very much, connect here and there. And I'd hit Success Club sometimes not. Like, it was very like flow and up and down. But then I was so focused on like the people that I did sign up, I was really focused on them and helping them get the results that they wanted and hit the goals that they wanted. And those people I signed up my first year are the people that are still here with me and are what have built my, like, this solid core base underneath me. But then fast forward to 2021, and I kind of got not really clear in my why and my vision. And I was just kind of coaching and trying to hit other people's goals and not really what I wanted. And so I was more focused on, yes, hitting Success Club or hitting a certain rank. And I lost like my joy, I guess you could say, in the business. And then I, of course, started going back to work in the office full time. So it was kind of harder to balance everything as life was getting back to normal. So my second year wasn't very good. And then come 2020 or 2022, the beginning of 2022, again, I was like so busy with work. For those that don't know, I am an accountant. So from January to May, I work 60 to 70 hours a week. I travel to clients most of those times. So I'm very, very busy. And coaching kind of fell to the side. And then it was, I think, April or May, me and Brooke had a conversation and we were like, okay, yes, like it's going to happen. I was sitting here so close to diamond, literally for so long. I needed what, 2, 3 coaches. And I'd have inactives and actives, but it was kind of, I never made the decision to go diamond until probably May. And so then May finally made it happen. I know Brooke said it multiple times, but I think I had like maybe 3 active PCs or coaches underneath me. And like within a week, then I hit diamond. And I'll share some of the tips as how I did that. But once I did hit diamond, I will say that I then I hit it and then I felt like an imposter. I'm like, okay, I worked so long and so hard for this goal. What now? And, I lost it a little bit after that, but then now I've gained it back. And so one thing I think we need to focus on is not really focus on hitting those goals or those ranks, but the effects of hitting those ranks. What does that really mean? By hitting diamond, I was able to help more people and get more results and like so on. So that's kind of my coaching story. I don't know if we wanted to go to Alexis or you wanted me to keep going.
Maybe we'll jump to Alexis and then we'll
Okay.
go to the tips.
Sounds good.
I love it. Love it so much.
All right. Y'all know me. Hello. So a little bit similar journey like Melissa. I consider myself a COVID coach. So it was around December 2019. Rebecca, Dylan's my coach. And we've grown up with each other, knowing each other, all that stuff. And she reached out to me. She's like, hey, like, do you want to do this with me? And I kindly and lovingly said no, because I was getting prepped for lacrosse season because I was a student athlete. Got into lacrosse season, then COVID hit around March. My senior season was completely wiped underneath the rug from me. And I got sent home, had to finish college online. So I was like, oh my gosh, I've been doing sports since I was literally in diapers. And I lost everything. So I'm like, what do I do now? So Rebecca, I could probably scroll back in our DMs or text messages or whatever and find that message, but she like messaged me at the perfect time. I think it was like the day after I got sent home from college to do online classes. And I was like, this is the perfect time. So I signed up March 15th of 2020. And I did, like Melissa, I did 21-day fix, got really plugged in, finished college, got my degree virtually, so forth and so on. And then I got my job at Ulta. So what's really great about this business, and I think Melissa and I have very similar stories in that, is that we can do this full time. Like we can have a full-time job as well as do this part-time or full-time. So it's really what works best for you and your lifestyle. So I got my job at Ulta. I'm a manager there and I'm still a manager there. And at the time I was working night shift. So 7:30 p.m. to 5:30 a.m. Monday to Thursday, as well as an hour commute there and an hour commute back. So I was out of the house 12, 13-hour days. So then I figured out how to find pockets of time. So literally after 21-day fix and I got the results I wanted, I dove in to coaching like a month after, and I hit Success Club starter within the first 3 months of coaching and got my summit ticket. And then, here we are, used it 2 years later. So I really got super excited. I think we all have journeys where we got to that point. Like when you first start, you're like, yes, I'm ready. I'm fired up. Let's go. And then it wasn't until like peak season, like holiday season at my job, that kind of like Melissa, like lost my joy. COVID was starting to dwindle away. Everyone was going back to the gym, finding other different workout routines. And that started to get me discouraged. I'm like, I can't find people. Like I gave up. Like I basically gave up. I was consistent in my workout nutrition, but I kind of dropped the ball. So 2021 to literally probably about like March when Autumn was promoting gut protocol, I was like, I need to like get my ish done. Like I need to commit to this or just keep going through the motions. And I was like, I'm done with going through the motions. So gut protocol came out. I hit Success Club, I think like 16. And I was like, this is it. This is my starting point to lock in the 4 to 7 months of Success Club to work towards Diamond. So I'm here now. So yeah.
Okay, I just have to say what I love about both of your stories, especially, it's like, which we all do. It's like we all have our times, our lulls in this business, right? It's like, I mean, that's what life is. That's what this business is. That's what our health journey is. But you like, even in the times where it's like, hey, the business is on the back burner, you're still working on you. And it's not like you gave up 110%. And I think that's so, at least for like, after being 5, I think I just hit 6 years. 6 years in, like, if I could just, when I see coaches just kind of stop, I'm just like, hey, well, just keep working on you, keep focusing on you, because you're going to, just like with gut protocol, just like when, you know, you see your sister take off with this, you're going to hit that spark again. And you're going to be so glad you just didn't drop everything, because then you just have no idea where it could take you from here. So just wanted to point out, I love those parts of your stories. So yeah, let's just jump into the tips that you guys have, where like, how did you make it happen after all of the years of ups and downs and in-betweens and awesome moments and not so awesome?
Okay, so my number one thing is, it is a decision. For the longest time, I sat here and like I said, I had a solid core, you know, people underneath me, and I just needed one or two few pieces, and I was waiting for the perfect time, like, oh, you know, next month I'll sign up this person and this person and hit it. And I was just like waiting and waiting and waiting, and it never happened. So I finally, like I said, I made that decision. I had the conversations I needed to have. I asked, you know, people, and it's not just going to happen. You and only you, not your coach, not your friend, not your husband, boyfriend, whoever. It has to be you that makes that decision. And going off of that, my second tip is, don't wait until you think you're ready to do it. I kind of say do it afraid, because you're never going to be ready. You know, I was afraid to have a conversation with maybe certain people. I'm like, no, they don't want to do this. Like, I'm not going to ask them, blah, 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 blah. But let someone else tell you no. Don't make the decision for them to say no. So if you're afraid to have conversations with people or invite people, just do it, because the more you do it, the better you're going to get, the easier it's going to become, and it's just going to become second habit. Same with posting or connecting or any of the vital behaviors. You just got to do it, and do it afraid, because eventually you're not going to be afraid to do it. A funny story is, for the longest time, like literally probably the first 2.5 years of coaching, I would not talk on my stories. I don't know why. I could do Zooms all the time. I could do live videos in Facebook groups, but I couldn't talk on my stories. And finally I messaged Brooke and I was like, okay, I'm doing this. And I originally said, I'm going to do it within like the next 2 weeks. And she's like, no, do it tonight. I was like, okay. And now, I mean, I do it all the time. So that's just a funny story. You just got to do it. And honestly, once you do something once, the second time's easier, third time's easier, fourth time's easier. My third tip is, as a COVID coach, you know, for the longest time, we didn't have any events. And I think that was the hardest part, and probably why we both kind of fell off, you know, in our 1.5, 2 years, is because everything was still so virtual. So if you have the opportunity, attend attend in-person events. If that's Super Weekend, Summit's a must if you actually want to have a business. Or like we do a lot of get-togethers with our team. And it not only builds that more like team with, you know, your group of ladies, but you also feel more connected. You feel like you're not alone. You learn so much at, you know, Summit, like so much, as well as Super Weekend. And you hear these stories and you're like, oh, hey, that's similar to maybe someone on your team. And you can kind of connect those pieces there. And then another thing I have is priorities. If you don't make your goal or this business a priority, it's never going to happen for you. It's same kind of goes hand in hand with making the decision. If you make it a priority, we're all busy. I don't care if you're single, you have a husband and 4, 5, 3 kids, or you work full time, you don't work full time. We all have different schedules. We're all busy. No one can say they're busier than someone else. It's just, what do you prioritize? And that's, how we all first started working on our fitness journey, is we prioritized ourselves first. Now you got to prioritize the business in order to get those goals. And then the last thing I have is really working on your mindset. I think that's a vital behavior that a lot of people skip over, just because people are like, I don't need to work on my mindset, whatever. I don't need to read PD or listen to anything. But for me, that's been the biggest thing in my business, not only for my business, but also like personally. I have long drives. Sometimes it's 10 minutes to the office. Sometimes it's 2-hour commute up to the UP. And that's when I listen to the National Wake Up Call or team call recordings, podcast. I use that time in my car to listen to the PD or an audiobook I'm reading, because I know that's the time I have to do that. Let me look and see if there's anything else. Some actionable tips I have is voice messaging. If you don't do it, do it. Brooke knows when I drive, seriously, she gets like 100 voice messages from me, because when I drive, that's like my thinking time. But sending it to customers, potential customers, it's just so easy, and they feel more like they're connected to you than just a quick, hey, blah, 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 blah. And then also hosting your own groups. If you don't host your own groups, I highly recommend doing it. You can throw everyone into your coach's group or someone else's groups. But if you don't have your own group, at least for me, I don't feel as invested in inviting people to Brooke's group as I do if I'm hosting my own. So I think that's it. One last thing. Yes, you are the CEO of your business, but you also have to have the mindset of a, middleman or a worker, because if you're like, oh, I'm the CEO of my business, I can do whatever I want, you're not going to hit your goals. If you are, an associate or whatever, like, you have your to-do list that you need to do every day in order to report to your boss. Have that same mindset in this business, because guess what? If you don't do that, you ain't gonna do it. But I think that's all. Sorry if I rambled, but now on to Alexis.
All right. So I have 5 quick tips. There's a little bit of overlap that Melissa shared, but I think that just really shows how we're very similar, consistent, and like what this business means to each and every one of us individually. So my first upfront, just go to Summit, make it happen. If you're a new coach, work to Success Club Starter. I think that's the really cool thing about this business is we have opportunities, we have the trips, all the things, and I've experienced that within the last 6 months. So just do the dang thing and work for that Success Club Starter if you're in that boat. If not, stock up some money. Like, I already bought my ticket for next year. I literally bought the day after Summit. Like, I am ready to go for next year. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2, when you go to Summit, like Melissa said, you are overwhelmed with exciting information, launches, all the things. And I'm the type of person that, like, I want to do everything, like implement everything in my business. And I'm like, Alexis, chillax, like, take a breath, find a way that stays organized. You stay organized and just take little bits and pieces, what you learn from whether it's the wake up call, team calls, and slowly implement them. Because if you throw everything at once, like Brooke said at the beginning, you're going to get burnt out. So, and I think that's what I learned over the last 2 years. I wanted to do maybe like what Rebecca was doing, and I realized that maybe that didn't work for me, or what Jody was doing, and it didn't work for me. And then the more you take on, you overthink. I'm an overthinker, got in my head, and then I was like, this doesn't work. So everyone works differently and functions differently. That's why we're all so unique in our own businesses. So being able to identify and implement that. The third thing that I think is probably the most important thing is that you need to say your goal out loud and write it and see it as a visual. Like I could literally share my screen right now. I had my vision board up like on my screen and it said, I'm going to be a diamond coach by August/September of 2022. And I saw that every freaking day on my laptop and look where I'm at. I hit it. So you need to lean on this community to put it into action, put it out there. And I remember, what was it, right before I started entering the 6 weeks qualification, I put it on my social media and I was like, no one's gonna, only select few people are gonna understand this, but no one else is gonna understand it. But I know what the value it has for me and putting it out there. So make sure you say it, know the intention behind it. Because when I started coaching, like when you first start coaching, you try to learn everything, what the ranks are, how you can move the business forward. It's a lot. And I didn't really know what diamond coach meant when I first started. So I was like, oh, I want to be a diamond coach. Like, why? And I didn't know what it meant. So after giving it some time and knowing what that meant, where I'm at now, understand if you do set that goal, make sure you have a why and intention behind it. The fourth thing that really helped me be successful in getting to where I was at is tracking. So again, we always talk about the business activity tracker. I'm a either pen and paper or do it on my computer, type it out. So what really helped me this month, and I shared it like with Rebecca's team, is I simply did an Excel sheet. I had a tab for August. And I literally just did all the list of names that I'd invited on Instagram and connected with. I did the date that I invited them, gave myself 48 hours to follow up, and that's it. Like super simple. That worked for me. And it was what was really cool. I got to look back and see how many invites I did in the month. And that was probably the most I've ever did. I think it was like 140. And I wasn't even inviting every day, but that like felt really good. I'm like, okay, that's a small goal that I have that next month I'm going to do 160 or 170. And it's always good to look back so you're not like inviting the same people all the time. And lastly, like Melissa said, I'm very spot on with this last tip is that you have a choice. You had a choice today to even show up and listen to what we had to say. You didn't have to come on here. You really didn't. But you guys chose to do that. You chose to work out every day. You chose to drink your shake every day. You are not in this business alone. Don't make it feel like you're alone because you're not, because we've all had similar walks of life at some point. And I think that's really cool about Melissa and I. Like we met at Summit and like I smile because like our stories are so cool and we're like best buds now and it's so much fun. But the community is everything. And no matter what choice you make to be that CEO in your business, know that there's always a positive impact to it or a negative consequence. So that's determine what you want from that and don't let it hold you back. And if you have a full-time job like me, you can do the dang thing. You just got to set your mind to it. So that's all I got.
Yay, love it, you guys. Thank you. Okay. Any questions for Melissa and Alexis? Go ahead and drop them in the chat at all. In the meantime, I pulled up the house link so we can go look at it. I know some people are on the call that they weren't at the beginning and I didn't record the beginning, but we are moving our Diamond Leadership Retreat from Scottsdale, Arizona to a beachfront house in Panama City Beach. So super excited. We have enough room for like 25 ladies. So like, let's get it filled up. The cutoff date is September 15th. Like maybe you're 6 coaches away. Maybe you're 2 coaches away. Make it a priority. Have the conversations. I love what Melissa said about voice messaging. Like know who you're talking to. Like, I know Brooke, you've said that's too, like when you're going to call your grandma, you're not going to just text your grandma or, ask, maybe you need to talk to your grandma. It's like, okay, no grandma, I'm either going to call or maybe I'm going to come over, talk to you. Like let's have a conversation, meet people where they're at. And I always like to tell my coaches, like, when you're that close to a goal, make a dirt list. Like, what's your dirt list of the people who love you, who would buy dirt from you, right? Like, who would be like, oh, like, hey, I am loving what I'm doing. I am so close to this goal. Would you be willing to help me out for 6 weeks, right? And knowing that, hey, yes, maybe this is a short-term thing for them, but what if they stick with it? What if someone in their life like sees them doing this and wants to start doing, like, you just never know with those things. So I'm gonna stop talking and share my screen because I'm excited, and you guys all need to be there because it's just gonna be so much fun. So we have this house in the blue right there. That is it. And right there is the backyard. So we have a balcony, big heated pool, hot tub in the back. We'll bring lots more chairs out for some lounging. I'm so excited. I think I was looking today, it's supposed to be between like 75 and 80. So even if it's not like super hot, the heated pool will feel good. And I feel like workouts on the beach will be just so much fun. I've already recruiting Rebecca to put together some team building activities on the beach. So we can expect some of that fun stuff from her competitive side. Like no one is competitive on here, I know that. So just a little bit of the backyard or back deck. Going inside of the house is really pretty. Of course, I mean, if you're going to be beachfront, you want all the views of the beach. So I feel like every level just gives you that, which is so fun. A really big kitchen to make our good, like I said, healthy shakes, but also enjoy our desserts and yummy foods too that we're going to have catered in. No one's going to have to cook, like just enjoy being there. At least I'm not cooking unless someone is like dying to cook in the morning. And then all the bedrooms are either queens or kings and lots of room. Like I said, that Scottsdale house, there was just a lot of full beds. I think this is the second level kind of hangout area. Upstairs, a beachfront room, another one. So I will post all this information on the team page tomorrow, but I just wanted to show you guys because I can't stop looking at them and I'm so excited. September 15th is the day. That is a week and a half away. Super doable. Oh, so there is some bunk beds if anyone wants to pretend like they're 10 again and jump in those, but I don't know if we're gonna have to use them. Okay, so that's all I'm gonna share with you guys right now. I definitely overpacked. Any questions for them or about the retreat? Teamwork on the beach and do sprints. How about I'll be the timer person for the sprints? That sounds good to me.
I've got a super quick question for both of you. First off, that was amazing. I took notes, so it was so good. I feel like you guys say things so much more eloquently than I can. I talk too long to get to the point. Like Melissa, you're just like, boom, with everything you say. Oh my God. I'm like, what? But anyway, personal development, real quick. I want to know what really clicked with you guys, what maybe helped you guys in this season, and what would you recommend for someone maybe that's in this season of, yeah, but it's still too far for me.
I'm trying to think. Right now, okay, hold on. Let me go grab the book. I had to make sure I got the title right, but I just finished reading Dare to Lead by Brené Brown. It's funny, my company actually got me this book when I was promoted and I've been wanting to buy it. So it was a win-win there. So I really like that one. Otherwise, I just finished also Atomic Habits. So if you're looking to get into habits with your fitness or your coaching business, that is very, very, like, it's a highly, highly recommended. But then right now I'm reading Start or Punch Fear in the Face, Escape Average, Do Work That Matters. I'm like a fourth of the way through this, but it just basically talks about, like, yeah, you can sit here and just go on with life and be average, but you need to make these decisions, again, back to decisions, in order to be better than average, and have an awesome life. And you just got to start, AKA the title. But other than that, I listened to quite a few different podcasts. But yeah.
For me, I'm a big podcast person. So Julie Vorce has been my go-to right now. I'm like the weird person that like when I start a podcast, I have to like a Netflix show, I gotta binge it from the beginning. So I will literally just spend 10 minutes of myself scrolling to the first episode and going all the way through. So I've been listening to that. Rebecca's team and I were doing Energy Bus. So I've been reading that. And then I randomly found this book at Target. It's called Good Vibes, Good Life. And it's just basically figuring out self-love and just like your key to success and greatness. And I think that's just a good reminder. Like we got to make sure we love ourselves, love the process before we implement those actions. Because if we're not where we are personally, then we're not going to get where we want to be. So that's my go-to. It is by Vex King, if you guys want a good read.
Well, dang, it's no surprise. I mean, you both have things ready to read and share because you're doing the dang things and like getting out of your own way. PD is a huge part of it. So great question, Brookie. All right, you guys, we are going to go ahead and wrap this up unless anyone has any burning things. I know Alexis has an early 4:30 a.m. wake up call. She's on East Coast. So thank you so much, Alexis and Melissa, for sharing your time, sharing your heart tonight. We're cheering you guys on. Just so fun to see all the things you're doing. And yeah, I just love it. Yeah, you guys both just had, I feel like just like, what did you say, Brooke? Like just like not memes, but just one-liners. And I'm like, I just need to take this and like just go for the day. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for coming tonight. I'll post all this information in the team page tomorrow. Bye.